There you go.
So we watched Cold Turkey. It's better than hot chicken, I guess. What did you think?
It was an incredible movie.
I thought it was one of those movies that I thought, it tries to be something, but it was way deeper than that. Way deeper.
It had all the serenity of Jaws and the horror of like The Sound of Music all put into one movie. Like
there was dichotomy, that's for sure.
It was an incredible movie, is what I would say, if it was any good.
No, I think it was deeper than it looked on the outside. I got something more out of it than you did.
Aardvark then.
Yes, it's my aardvark. And I don't think it was a brilliant or anything like that, but it was like it was produced by and a screenplay and directed by Norman Lear, and he did All in the Family. And All in the Family, you can say, oh, well, that was a nice series, but it was like, no, it was a lot. There's a lot. He was telling us a lot more than we thought he was. And this, I think he was trying to tell us a lot more. I don't know that it always came through, but I did like it.
Really? Oh man, I found it so obvious.
Yes.
And so like
it used all the cliches.
But Beverly Hillbillies did too, but Beverly Hillbillies came off funny. This came off.
Yes, it was trying too hard. Yeah.
More. Like,
yes.
like they tried to do something like, and Bob Newhart's a fantastic comic, and he just looked terrible in this, I thought. Like, he like, for sure, he was the standout of the bad. I mean, Dick Van Dyke was okay. Maybe you should say what the movie's about.
Yeah. I'm going to screen share. Let's see if I can do this. It says present now, and let's see if I can do that. A window. So I'm going to pick this one and share. Now, can you see this?
Yep.
Okay, so this is the and it really does explain everything. What happens when an evil tobacco company offers $25 million to a town to stop smoking for 30 days. And so what happens when they in Eagle Rock, Iowa, take up the challenge. So that's one of the things. And here's another one, which is like, okay, slightly different angle. They're promoting something slightly different with the woman.
There was no girl with great legs in this movie with heels on, and
there sort of was.
We saw the same movie, didn't we?
Yeah. The girl who played the massage therapist.
Oh no.
No, she was trying to be that. Not that, but definitely the sex appeal thing.
Hired a Sophia Loren type. There must be a billion of them in Hollywood at the time, and you could have hired like somebody, at least somebody wanted to look at.
Yes. No, but do you like, for me, it was enjoying the connections, like the massage therapist / hooker or whatever she was. She played Boom Boom, who tempted Archie in All in the Family.
I remember that.
Like I have a list of all these people. Bill Macy starred in Maude, and he was a barker at the fair. Peggy Ray, the doctor's wife, she was the replacement for Michael Learned in the Waltons. Graham Jarvis, the head of that weird society, he was on Maude, he was on Seventh Heaven. So Paul Benedict, who was the hypnotist guy, he was on Maude. He was also in They Might Be Giants, which we watched. It's like, okay. Jean Stapleton, who was also in Clute that we watched last month, she was in All in the Family. So all of these people, like Norman Lear, either worked with before or after, and he just plunked all these, these characters into a movie. And it was very predictable in that way. I mean, the town is to stop smoking. So they had all of the, people that they're irritated, they're hungry, they're bargaining, they're smuggling, they're hiding places, they're using hypnosis, and there's, they're using all of those predictable things. But what the movie taught me is they're all trying to get $25 million. And the whole point is they look like they're going to get it. And then it's like, oh, maybe not. And then, okay.
The whole town.
The whole town.
Money. And the town assumes that money is going to be for town resources, and people start getting greedy and going, we should each be paid $5,000 or whatever the total was.
Yeah, they start arguing about how they're going to divide $25 million. And so you think, okay, well, that's kind of predictable. But in the end, they get what they wanted. Like, they started out as a dying town, and Dick Van Dyke was the pastor who was, wanted to leave because there was no place, there's no place for him to grow as a person. Like this, it's a dead town. And then at the end, he realizes that it's full of greedy people, and what better place for him to be. But I don't know that he got that, and the town wanted, revitalization. So at the end, they get a missile plant, which ends up, being a contribution to war and pollution and all the stuff that is really not good for you. But that's what they thought they wanted, and they got it. And it's like, okay, is that really what you want? Not really.
Yeah, but I think
that lesson I really enjoyed learning.
You don't think that you would have known about that lesson when you were 8 years old if you'd have watched the movie, that before the thing happened and they go, we want a big missile plant that will run 24/7 and bring in a whole bunch of people, that you wouldn't realize that. And we knew the difference between Caister Center and a big city. We sort of understood that even at a very, very young age.
Sure.
It was so obvious. It was so like as if the director was a grade 10 student going, no, let's have some people come in here and say that the doctor has to smoke. He has to smoke. We're going to have everybody try and stop him from smoking, and he's going to try and light it. And
how funny can we make it? Yeah.
But it wasn't funny. And I think it could have made it funny. None of that was funny.
No, you're right. They tried very hard to do that. That part I agree with. And part of it is that, like, because it was so sort of predictable, I was thinking, okay, for the 1970s, it wasn't bad, but it's like, were they groundbreaking in the 70s? And now we've come so far, and so it looks, kind of pitiful? Or was it actually the first time they really did stuff like that? That I couldn't figure out, like, because it was actually done in 1969, and they had to wait 2 years before they released it. So,
Yeah, I didn't. I mean, it was good. It represented the 70s. Like the comedy of the 70s. That was what you'd make out of an early 70s comedy. You know what I mean? It would be that kind of ilk. I guess they were just trying to, because then you get into like Smokey and the Bandit later, which is a better story. You know what I mean? Like, isn't that late 70s Smokey and the Bandit, like 78 or 79, that kind of thing?
Something like that, yeah.
And that's much more a put together story. Again, silly premise, but at least there was some kind of cohesiveness, and Jackie Gleason was funny in that. And I mean, even Dick Van Dyke, I felt sorry for, because he's doing this role as a priest, and he got this little bit of a problem and then he was talking about him smoking. All of a sudden, I quit smoking and I'm going to smoke. And I went, oh, that's such an obvious fallibility to show that he's got going through the struggle too, just like everybody else. And I just went, oh my goodness.
Yeah, very predictable in a lot of that ways. I didn't know that if like, it's so predictable now, but was it groundbreaking for 71? That I don't even know. I'm not sure.
Remember the movie Billy Jack? Have you ever seen that movie? Oh, no. So watch. That's probably an early 70s movie, and it is like you'll stick your head to that movie and be drawn right into the story, like in such a passionate way. It's such a good story. So if you pick
it one time then.
Well, 70s are over. Don't get another 10 years.
No, next year you can do 70s.
That's right. We're going to do 70s again. Yeah, but I've seen that movie. We're trying to do movies we've never seen. I mean, or at least don't remember much of.
Yeah. Well, so I did try watching And Justice for All, and you're right, it was a tough movie.
Yeah.
But I still thought it was interesting.
I would not have wanted to talk about it. You know what I mean? Yeah.
I could see why you would say that. Yeah, for sure. they took all the predictable, and we don't even recognize some of these things. They had a newspaper man who was Walter Cronkite, who was supposed to be Walter Cronkite. Paul Hardy was supposed to be Paul Harvey. Arthur Lordley was Arthur Godfrey. And then there's this David Chetley, and I'm thinking, I don't know who that is. I'm too young to have known who David Chetley is, who the parody is of. So it's funny how you really had to know a whole bunch of stuff. But there was a bunch of things it's like they could never get away with now. Trying to get the doctor to sign. And so the woman said, if you don't sign it, I'll cry rape. And it's like, wow, you couldn't get away with stuff like that now.
No.
But they were doing that back then.
Oh, but even the president coming and saying, I'm now going to give you the next missile. The president doesn't make that decision. That's not that was the silliness. And it sort of showed how in the 70s, you could get your speeding ticket fixed by the cops because you knew somebody. And so the mentality was, well, the president can make those decisions because you just sort of think that's how power kind of works.
Yeah.
It didn't work that way, but I could see how people's assumption were that the president is all powerful. And if he wants to give you a missile factory, you'll get your missile factory, the thing you dreamed and hoped and wanted so badly.
Yeah.
Revitalize your town.
Yeah. No, but it's that doesn't revitalize the town. Same with winning $25 million doesn't do it either. It just, it had them at odds about how to spend the money. And it's
but it would have been really neat to show that side of it, don't you think?
Sure. That would have been a better movie.
I remember Sylvana, that first girlfriend I had, we were walking downtown downtown Hamilton near Jackson Square. We were talking about there's a big lottery coming up. And, it was for $15 million or something. And she was saying, here's what I'd do with the money. And I was saying, here's what I'd do with the money. So this is 1981 kind of time. No, 82, 83 time frame. And we're sort of arguing about what to do with money, thinking that the other is foolish for their decisions.
Mm-hmm.
She said, let's not win the lottery. And I went, oh my goodness, what a nice thing to say. You know what I mean? That was smart. That's a very smart sentence that puts everything into perspective, because we're arguing for something we won't even win. And yet the 0.00000001% chance of winning is already
creating strife. Yeah. The thing is, what I liked about the movie is that it shows you, we think we want a revitalization, but it turns out we don't. So we'd like to win the thing. Oh, turns out that we really don't want that. Okay, well then maybe we'll get the plant, and then you don't really want it at the end either. So the idea that we're all idiots who need to live together is something that's the thing that was reinforced for me. And I kind of liked seeing that. But yeah, it was done in I typically don't like 70s movies because they are so poorly crafted in cinematography, and it's all, I typically don't like the looks of them. But I thought underneath it all, it was a kind of a stupid farcey kind of thing. And yet there were some lessons underneath it all that I appreciated them trying to tell. I didn't think they hit it out of the ballpark by any means, but I got more out of it than I thought I would.
So watch the movie Billy Jack and tell me if that movie doesn't suck you into the story and believe in the characters.
This wasn't that kind of a movie.
No, but I wanted to believe in it somewhat. I wanted to have sympathy, or even with Dick Van Dyke, going, okay, he's going to be the pastor, and he's a comedian trying to be the pastor, and I'm thinking he's just going to be trying to be goofy and stuff, and he wasn't. He was trying to be serious. I don't know. I believed in none of the movie as I'm going through it. And so there was one moment where I thought I saw a young Carol Burnett in it. The very first person getting off the bus. There's a bus that pulls into town once people start flooding into the town at the 55-minute mark. And so take a close look at that. And the girl gets off the bus. You just see her come like this. And I don't even know if she steps out of the bus or halfway, and then it cuts to another scene. And I went, oh my goodness. Just when I was on the treadmill, I sort of thought
that might have been her.
19 or 20-year-old Carol Burnett kind of thing is what I saw.
Right.
Because how old would she have been in 71? When was she born?
I don't know. I don't remember that.
Okay, Google. What year was Carol Burnett born?
Carol Burnett was born on April 26, 1933.
No, so in 71, she's 38 years old.
So she's not young there.
She's not yeah, I saw like a 20-year-old, 19-year-old. Holy smokes, born in 33. Funny.
Well, there was just so many of those bit parts where these people who end up being stars.
Well, that's why I was thinking
that's why I enjoyed watching that too. It's like, oh, look, that was the lady who played, like one of the ladies. She played the woman who was having a baby at the same time as Gloria Stivic was having her baby on All in the Family. Yeah, she was Mrs. Stipic. And so Archie went into the room in blackface, and this woman is hallucinating and says, I'm good. I'm not well enough to be raped by you. Like, so this is what her delirium said. It's like she played the part of one of the ladies in the movie. So like all these little faces that you're going, I know who she is. Oh, I know who he is. I think I like doing that when I can make those connections.
Yeah, I can imagine that'd be good for you.
And the mayor, he was Frank Lorenzo on all the neighbor of Archie after the Jeffersons moved away. So it's like all of these people, it's like, oh, that's hilarious to see all these connections. That I appreciated that part of it too.
Yeah, it was a movie filled with cast of characters that were all Hollywood bit part players throughout. Yeah.
And I don't know if they were little at the time when he made the movie and they did better after, or whether they were actually pulled all these, like.
I don't know that playing the other married person next to Gloria having a baby is a big part later.
No.
I think they were all like little. I mean, Tom Poston was in there, and he
he was on Newhart though with Bob Newhart. It was like, oh, okay, all these connections that
he was in the second Bob Newhart show, not the first one.
Not the first one.
Yeah.
So there's a bunch of those, and then of course Dick Van Dyke, who I like watching do almost anything. But you're right, it was like, it wasn't a great movie. I wonder if they go, okay, it wasn't acted really well. The plot itself was fairly predictable, but I did like the fact that for me there was kind of like, it's trying to be not just what it seems on the outside. Norman Lear is pretty good at doing that. It's like, you think you want it. Winning is not always winning. And I like that he tried to show that anyways.
It just seemed so obvious again to me that I don't remember Jaws. Jaws was another 70s movie.
Yeah.
And that had another where it just sunk you in and
made you scared to go in the water.
We look at that now and think, what a stupid looking plastic Jaws. But at the time, we'd never seen anything of that ilk.
Yeah. This movie did not make me want to go, oh, how hard it was to stop smoking. Like, it didn't make me.
And also the fact that we don't smoke anymore. It's so foreign.
Yeah.
For today. In other words, the movie doesn't hold up well from that perspective. Billy Jack actually will hold up really well because it's essentially the story of the white man and the Indians and the reservations and how we sort of see Indian culture. And like, it's a look at what that was like in the 70s, which was way more dank than it is now. Mm-hmm. And it's a really interesting step into that. Like, you can't not root for Billy Jack, and so heartily. I remember I've watched that a few times in my life. That's why I wasn't going to pick that movie. I was thinking of what's the movie called? Kim Basinger.
With Alec Baldwin?
Yeah. No, not that one. That's Malice.
The one that she got into trouble for? Didn't she get into trouble for, not into trouble, but like was sued about something?
I seem to recall that. One of my favorite movies in the whole world. The title is eluding my brain.
Kim Basinger. I can't even think movies that she's in. I just thought she was in one with Alec Baldwin.
9.5 weeks. I was thinking 6. 9.5 weeks. It's like one of my favorite movies. Seen it 10 times maybe, and that's why I don't want to pick it for the movie we do. It's in '86. I saw it in the theaters, and then I just so like that movie. And most people don't like it. It's too sexually charged and that kind of stuff. There's a very famous scene where he opens the fridge and blindfolds her and takes food out of the fridge and makes her taste it. And so she's like scoops out Jell-O and puts it into her mouth, and she doesn't know what it's going in her mouth. You know what I mean? Something from the fridge. So she like, and then realizes Jell-O, then does something else, then puts hot peppers, cuts them up and puts them in her mouth. And then he hands her milk, and she ends up drinking the milk, and it all sort of flows down because she's so dying for the milk to get rid of the hot. And it's just like a very erotic piece of, because of what they're doing. It's all done by fridge light. And a lot of people just said that was too much, but I thought it was the other way around. She was a very strong character, and she essentially meets a guy and they have a 9.5 week relationship. That's the sort of
the premise.
Yeah, I think behind 9.5 weeks. Just if you ever wanted to watch what I consider one of the, and it's very, so I'm in the theaters and he presses a button and the tape cassette comes out, rotates around and goes back in. Like the deck itself knew how to go reverse sides by actually flipping the tape around, like those really high-end Marantz or something like that. And I remember watching, going, oh, that's such an expensive thing that he shows off how rich he is without saying a word. You just infer it all, like things like that.
Yeah.
Pressing the button, it flips it around. And up comes Music for Airports is being played by Brian Eno, that I love. That's very ambient music. And that's what's playing. And no one would know that, but I knew that. He's playing Music for Airports. And then he goes in with her into a boathouse. I think it's a boathouse. And he puts on a record, and it's Billie Holiday. And I didn't know what Billie Holiday was back then in like '86. I didn't know if it was a man or a woman. And even with the voice, you can't quite tell. And he was singing Strange Fruit. You know what that song is? So the song Strange Fruit is about Black people hanging from the trees when they were lynched. And it's their strange fruit. And this is Billie Holiday singing it with such angst in her voice. And just when you listen to it, it's incredible.
Yeah.
That song. And that's what he's playing. And I went and bought a bunch of Billie Holiday after that. Just had to listen to Billie Holiday. It was so intriguing. Yeah. So he's a really mysterious guy, and I bet you can't not fall in love with him when you see him in the movie. Like if you're watching it, you're I'm falling for this guy because I'm falling for him. You know what I mean?
What movie is this one?
9.5 weeks. So you have 2 movies to watch. 9.5 weeks and Billy Jack.
Did you notice the music for this movie was by Randy Newman, and he's the guy who did the Toy Story movies. So it's like he was around in the 70s doing the same kind of, like, you can tell it's his voice doing it. I didn't
even notice that, but
I love the last song. It's he gives us all his love, and he's talking about, even though we're screwed up bunch of people, God still loves us. And that's what the last song was. And it's like, I kind of like that with, the missile plant polluting the air. It's like, okay.
I'll try when I'm watching the missile plant polluting the air. I'm trying to think, were they showing that smog going up into the air as progress or as pollution?
But that's my whole point. They thought they wanted it would be progress, and I think that the little nod is like, you know what, you're polluting yourselves and you don't even know it.
I think they stuck with progress. That was
I think Norman Lear, he knew that it's like, you want progress, you're going to get it, but progress means you're polluting and you're making guns for, like, missiles for war to kill people. That's what you think progress is. That's what I think he was saying.
The reason I don't is because when they showed that pollution coming up, they didn't show a next step of, the trees not growing anymore. And like there's a whole bunch of scenes you could put up to show the actions of that pollution. I thought that was just, and we have the progress that you wanted.
No, they made it was too much pollution. They wouldn't have made so much pollution. They made it like the skies are turning black. You people, you're doing it to yourselves.
Today we see it as that. I don't
That,
know.
yes.
In 71.
I think he did. I think he did. That's what I appreciated about it, because I believe that that's what he was trying to do, was to tell us more than just
acid rain wasn't even a thing in 71. I don't know that was when they made it, other than thought that we are showing progress.
No, they know pollution, because when they were doing All in the Family, Mike was always talking about we're polluting the earth and stuff like that. And Archie was like, stop being such a liberal meathead.
You're right with that.
So I think Norman Lear was ahead of his time in the way that he was saying, you think you want something, it's not really what you really want. You don't really want to be, creating missiles to bomb and kill people, but like that's going to save your town, so you're going to be happy with it. You don't really want coal burning stuff, because it's not the best way to do it. But it's like, it was jobs for people.
Well, I mean, the worst part is you don't need that much smoke to make missiles.
Sure.
So that was that's more than steel plants at the time put out. You know what I mean? Like that's.
So I think that over he like no one was polluting the air, turning the skies black because of a plant. Like it wasn't that bad. So I think he said that did that for a point.
Yeah, I still thought if he was going to do that, he would have next shown a desolate.
Yeah, the dead bird flying out, or
bird
not flying.
Over. Yeah, that kind of thing. I mean, they're dropping that many cigarettes from a helicopter. I mean, like, can you get stupider than that? Hand out cartons from the street. Like, there's the amount you're spending on getting a helicopter to blow cigarettes down on people.
The whole thing was so stupid. The guy kept trying to smoke, and then there's the lighter is actually a gun, and it was all so predictable. But I like to think that the other thing too is they talked about what happens when 406 heavy smokers from Eagle Rock, Iowa, take up the challenge. Okay, was there 406 people in the town? Like, how many were smokers and how many were not smokers at all? Like, did they sign the pledge even though they didn't ever smoke? Like, so I'm confused about how many actual smokers there were.
I think you'd need 4,006 people to sign it. Even the non-smokers would sign, I won't smoke. And then the smokers would sign. I mean,
so how many were really smokers who were really having a hard time of it? Like that, I didn't know.
All the adults, I guess.
Yeah. A lot more than you thought. Like, and the kids were smoking, and so they started protests. So it really took on a whole bunch of people's reaction, almost too many of them, so that it was like, okay, it was watering it down.
But did you see the Sons of Confederacy come by?
It started with a Confederate flag. The whole thing was.
And nowadays you would and these are all jolly white men, all getting on board, remembering the great old days of the Confederacy. Like that was.
Yep.
That was funny to watch, because that went from then to the Dukes of Hazzard.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But I think Norman Lear knew it ahead of time. Like the Dukes of Hazzard was glorying in the Confederacy, and I think that Norman Lear knew ahead of time that this is part of the divide of us.
Oh, really?
I think so.
I don't think the Confederate flag meant anything bad in the 70s, other than South unity.
Right, but why is Iowa got the Confederate flag? Iowa's not in the South?
No, it's not. But that's why they came up. The Sons of Confederacy. Remember that all these different groups are coming up.
Sure, yeah.
So, and were they hired to be part of the people watching everybody? Is that what they were coming up to do? Remember they said,
the people watching, first of it was from the, what's it called, the society? Where did he call it? Oh, the Christopher Mott Society. And I don't know what that meant. Like, I'm sure it meant something, just like Graham Jervis was, and they hired all the people to be do all the inspections. So, and that you won't get anything if you Google Christopher Mott, except that it's the name of the society in here. But I think it's a parody on something which we don't know, because we're not old enough to know that. Yeah.
Like, did you know on a cruise they have when you go on there, you're gonna see a sign going in the Lido deck room, whatever. There's friends of, and they'll have a guy's name, and that's an Alcoholics Anonymous meeting.
Okay, Bill. Usually it's Friends of Bill.
Maybe it's a Bill something. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, because they were talking about like drinking too much. The guy who helped found Alcoholics Anonymous, I think his name was William. He had, was dying from something, and his last wish was for a shot of whiskey, and they said no. So he was saying, like, you're not gonna die. This is gonna be my last thing. Can I not have a drink? And they said, nope, you're gonna die sober. It's like, so it's funny how, like, it reminded me of the smoking, sort of the addiction to, and can I not just have this to, feel good about myself? I want a cigarette. I want a drink.
Oh, I think if you're on your deathbed, I mean, I think at any time you should be able to do that if that's what you want to do.
Right, but he had worked so hard to stay sober. So
you're dying.
Yes, but you don't mind living sober, but you'd rather die as someone who's has the drink.
Well, that's why does your brain create all the dopamine and adrenalines and stuff like that when you die, if it's not to flood your head with the ability to cope with dying?
Sure.
So if you have your own coping mechanism, you want to drink or smoke or do drugs or whatever, you're about to die, you go do whatever you freaking want to do. Like,
I would think so. I would think so, but
that you taking that away from somebody is
they said, no, you work too hard to be sober, so nope.
Yeah, it's William Wilson, Friends of Bill W. on a cruise. What is Friends of Bill W. on a cruise?
Yeah, that's Alcoholics Anonymous meeting without saying. Well, that's actually pretty good that they would, as a cruise line, say there's going to be people who want that supportive group, and it's just like offering a chaplain or religious services or whatever. They're picking a segment of society that they're trying to be supportive of for whatever reason.
What happens if you have a friend called Bill W. and I have a friend Bill W.
Yes, I'm going to go hang out there. I'm going to bring him a bottle of whiskey because he.
Who else knows him? This is going to be great. Yes, get some wine. Let's go meet Bill W.
Yeah.
He's the guy on the cruise. You took on the cruise.
Yeah.
You're amazed that they're having a whole fanfare for him.
One of the other things is they start filming the church service, and it was the church services were kind of funny because the music that we were listening to as we were approaching the church services, it was all like black gospel stuff, and it's like, okay, these were not black gospel people; these were white people who were a lot of smokers. But when they started televising it, it was like, okay, let's do take 2 of the sermon or whatever. And then when he was reading the wrong sermon notes, that was pretty like they had some things that I appreciate as a person in church, because we started televising our services as well. And it's like, you kind of sit there sitting sort of different because you just know it's being recorded and people can watch it, when it didn't used to be like that. So it's just a weird thing about,
What I noticed about the church was that angle where the two people in the front seat, then 3, then 4, then 6, then 8.
And it was almost like they had a sale on pews that were not of matching sizes, so they had to arrange it that way. That's what it looked like.
I think it was just the way that the church was shaped, and it made it.
Yeah. Well, a bunch of churches don't have, like, they have 2 side aisles, but then the bride can't come down the center when she gets married. That was some churches didn't have that.
It's too small. Yeah, you couldn't.
Yeah. But yeah, it wasn't a great movie, but there was a bunch of things that I liked about it that I appreciated about it, that I think he meant it to be more than it was. And I don't like, it wasn't implemented very good, but I like that. I think he was trying to do something more with it. That's how I took it.
I'm probably not quite halfway there and agreeing with you. I meant to some extent, maybe, but I think it got, in the editing of it or something, they decided to just just put it together. Just get this done. Get this out. We need to get this out for the summer. It's a summer movie, not just make it get in the theaters. Like somebody because there was no compelling story. It was a foolish story that's obvious on its outset of what's going to happen when you get offer of 25 million. You just know they're going to fight over the money. You just know somebody's going to want to stay smoking.
Yeah.
And nobody would. Like that Tom Poston guy goes, well, I'll just leave the town. Well, if that's the solution, everybody would have left the town knowing full well they're all going to get $5,000 each. They could have the best, the whole town should have left. In other words,
had a party.
well, that means all the other towns in America that were able to apply for this, none other did other than Eagle Rock. It was the first one that seemed to be able to get enough signatures on it. If any town said, everybody go out of town, we'll empty the town for the time. We'll have one person who doesn't smoke sitting in the...
We'll win, and then...
We'll win, and because you don't have to be in the town. No, there wasn't nothing in the rules saying you had to be there.
Yeah, what I did, I liked how, Bob Newhart ends up being a really bit of a snake in the grass, and then he, moves the clock back, and it's like, they're gonna win. Oh, they're not gonna win, and that was pretty tense. But then it went overboard. They had the old ladies, swearing and saying that and chasing. So that wasn't done well. It was too farcical.
That was the only funny line when they changed the clock, the outdoor clock in the center of town, and he moved the clock back, and he goes, wait, the clock's wrong. And then Bob Newhart goes, the big clock's never wrong. Like, that was the only line that I liked, because you're right. If it's showing the time and it's working, it will be working. It's either stopped and wrong or working perfectly. Like, that clock's so.
But I like how, it's like, don't worry, I'm on the case. I will make sure that we don't have to pay that money. And it was funny how the head CEO, which I thought was really interesting, they had him not put his teeth in. So he looked like his mouth had caved in, and like he is the head of the tobacco company, and it looked like he had mouth cancer.
Yeah.
And it was like, okay, that's pretty stinging too, right? Like
that is. The other silliness is it went ding. The guy goes, it's midnight now. We've done it. Here's your check. And they hand the check over. Like, how about somebody qualify that nobody did smoke around the corner there or something? You know what I mean? Like, in other words, they just went, it's over. Like,
there's no way to test it and check it. Like they should have done so. It wasn't done well that way. And like investigating people coming into town, it's like, they could have figured out something, or they could have gone outside of town limits. So in that way, it was not realistic.
I thought they were going to find people hiding in their tornado shelters or something, smoking cigarettes and hiding away and getting caught doing that. And I mean, I don't know that anybody, even when you're doing something for your town, wouldn't stop smoking for a month. Under that condition, I think you might have some holdouts, but they would be smoking anyway to screw it up right at the beginning. So they
or just doing it in a closet where no one can see it. Like I did like the mayor's wife, Jean Stapleton, when she was playing the woman who was like hungry was her problem for not smoking, and she's like wrapping up bologna sandwiches in in gherkins or whatever, and she said, first I had the thing, and then her lines were pretty funny. She's like, I had so many gherkins and then the bologna, and then I wrapped the gherkins in her lines were good.
But she was very Edith-like. She doesn't have that much range, is what we find out in these.
Yeah, she's not a lot. Although she's not the nasal New Yorker, but she didn't play a serious role. But she's called to be the wacky mayor's wife.
I think she doesn't have much range. She's not going to be the love interest. She's not going to be the
right. But when she was in You've Got Mail with Tom Hanks and Meg Ryan, was it You've Got Mail? I think so, when they had to close the bookstore. Yeah. So she was in that, and she was a lovely older woman, and it's like, oh, that's my, Jean Stapleton. Just loved her playing a replacement mother for this woman whose mother had passed away. And
funny, I liked Archie, and when Carol O'Connor died, and him and Jackie Gleason were two ones that I quite liked.
Yeah.
I didn't have that much affinity for her, though.
I did. She was the star of All in the Family is supposed to be Archie, and she's supposed to be this dumb housewife. And underneath it all, she was the kindest.
Yeah.
She was the sweetest, and she was showing his ignorance without saying words. She was just treating people wonderfully, and that, Mike and Gloria just loved her to pieces, and Archie, they, drove them to distraction, but she was just a character that I don't know, I just loved her, that character of Edith. But I get the, how long do you want to play that? And I get, she looked like the dumb buddy, the, stifle and all that, but underneath it all, I think there was a strength to her that, and once in a while she got to say that she would say, you think I'm this, but no, I'm really this. And I do this because I love him. And this is, like she sees something that we don't always get to see. And every once in a while they show a little slice of it. Not very often, but you did get to see it sometimes. Love that character.
Yeah, I do remember there was a couple times like that time she was like accosted or raped or whatever.
Yeah.
Happened to her, and she had to do some serious acting then, stay in character, and then go through that turmoil at the same time. Like that. Yeah. That was good acting when she managed both of those at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I thought she was. I really enjoyed what she did with that character. I think she took what seemed like an annoying ditzy housewife who doesn't really know what she's doing is a doormat for her husband, and she's the underlying strength of the family that isn't always, like Gloria often said, you're just treated like a doormat. And there was a couple of shows where she's like, no, I'm choosing what I do.
Why did she not go into when Archie's place was there? What happened to them in the show?
Well, she was just tired of acting. She just wanted out, and it was too much of a good, like they had the ratings. And so first Mike and Gloria left, so they went to California. So then it starts to fade a bit, and then she wanted off the show. And so then they brought the young girl, one of Edith's relatives has a daughter who he skips out on. And so that daughter stays with Archie, and that's how they do Archie's place. And then they had a boarder who was Spanish or Latin girl, Liz Torres, I think. And so of course, they use the fact that she's Latin American to drive Archie crazy, because he needs, someone to drive him crazy. So a young girl and a Spanish girl is what they had to bounce off of him. And then
foil.
Yeah, he needed that. He's nothing on his own.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
But that's the jump the shark, I think, almost is when the kids left. First they moved next door, and then they left. And that was pretty hard on it. But when Edith left, it's like it's not the same show. And they tried to keep going and still do some storylines. But
speaking of jump the shark, you know what that's about, right?
Yes, Fonzie.
So there's a TV show that you should really watch. You're nuts not to. It's the funniest American TV, I think, that exists, called Children's Hospital.
Yeah, I watched some of it, and it wasn't like when I was watching. I tried watching a couple episodes, and I didn't think it was that great. But maybe I was in the wrong frame of mind or whatever.
Fonzie, what's his name? Henry Winkler.
Yeah.
After about 5 or 6 episodes, he comes in as the insurance company's, the head of the hospital management company to lower costs and stuff. He comes in to work there, and he's Fonzie. And Louis Lasonda is doing a 60 minutes escapade, exclusive.
Yeah, I had the word in that you made me think the wrong way too.
So anyways, he's doing expose.
Yes, that.
On Children's Hospital, because it's going to be shut down after 20 years on the air, something like that. And he's talking about the history of the show, when they had the first female doctor on TV, and you know what I mean, and to show her coming in, and they go, "Excuse me, miss, when's a new doctor arriving?" And the girl goes, Cat Black goes, "She's already arrived." He goes, "You must mean he's already arrived." And she goes, "No, I most certainly mean she's arrived. That's me. Like that's the really bad acting from the 70s is what they're trying to portray. So then he goes, when they brought on Cy Middleman, which is Henry Winkler, when they brought him on the show, Jump the Shark.
Oh dear. So okay. I like it when they have their own tongue in cheek and they know full well what it is, and it's like, and sometimes they milk the cow anyways. That's their tagline or whatever it is, and they'd rather not be known for like Adam West, hated being known as Batman, and then eventually kind of like, yeah, okay, I'll do the things that you need to do to.
It's just, you really should watch.
So you're making me watch 2 movies and a whole series.
Every episode's only 10 or 12 minutes long. So if you watch a whole season, it takes you an hour to watch a whole season. It's so quick. You'll get the what it's called Children's Hospital because they're a hospital for children, but that's not why they're called Children's Hospital. It was started by a guy named Arthur Children's.
Oh, okay.
That's the reason. And yet you think it's good. Yet it's only at the hospital for children. Like it's,
yes,
they don't see the difference. They think it's Arthur Children's Hospital.
Yeah, everyone should know what it is. Of course,
Hospital.
Mr. Yes. Children.
We do kids.
Yeah.
And the very first episode that Henry Winkler comes on as Cy Middleman, he's really nice, and the girl, she's pregnant, and she's shows up late for the meeting, and he goes, "Oh, so glad you could make it." And she goes, "Oh, sarcastic much?" And he's going, "Oh no, I'm very happy that you were able to show up." She goes, "Oh, leave me alone. I'm on my period." So she's 9 months pregnant, and then he just, everything goes, "Oh, take the day off." And they're going, typical suit, all the doctors and stuff. Yet he's being the sweetest man ever, and he's got this butterfly collection that escaped in the hospital that day, and when it lands on his finger, and he's going, "Oh, one of my babies has come back," and everybody in the doctors are all going, typical suit, this butterfly collection. And what happens is, one of the doctors kills a butterfly, and a little girl picks up the butterfly and kisses it like this, and then you look over and there's a machine called the cancer machine, and it goes from 100 down to 0. Cancer
okay.
Down to 0, meaning the cancer's all gone now, seconds after kissing this butterfly.
Yeah.
And then she's like brighter, and she's going, I'm hungry. And they're like, and so he goes to Henry Winkler and goes, I did it. I cured the big C. Like he's going on to him because that cancer's an amalgam of so many things. You can't just cure it with one thing. I did, look, and there's that girl, and she looks back at him like this, and she's in the cafeteria line. He goes, how'd you do it? He goes, it's in the butterflies. I don't know whether it's in the saliva or it's in the mucus or it's in the semen or in the urine. And he goes, but we'll have to figure that out. And then the doctor goes, well, who are we going to get to jack off all these butterflies? And Cy Middleman goes, I'll do it, because it's his butterflies, and he's so in love with them. And then they go into an X-Files thing where a guy comes in, the cancer man with the cigarette. You know how that happened in X-Files. And now he comes up and he's trying to get them to stop curing cancer because that will ruin everything for big pharma, right? So he tries to get them to stop with that. It just keeps folding in, and then it folds itself into to reality shows on TV. And oh man, it's good humor.
When there's nods to things. And that's what they were trying to do with this movie, with the Walter Cronkite and the Paul Hart, all these references that I'm thinking there's a whole bunch that we didn't even get. So, which is fine with me. I didn't need to get them.
But they did some, Agnew was really Agnew, but they didn't, and they did.
They had some film of Nixon, and then when they used a double to make it look like he was actually there.
But then you always saw his hands and doing the peace sign and that from behind, and they didn't even why wouldn't you put an actor that looked like him? I'm sure you could have found an actor that put some makeup on it.
Not enough, I guess. They didn't. Yeah.
Well, Walter Cronkite didn't terribly look like Walter Cronkite.
No.
He didn't really sound like him. He was I guess more like him than I do, but.
Yeah. No, but it was almost like it's a parody. And so they need to mention, okay, well, we have to have news people. So let's, let's change the name of that one. So yeah. I think at the time they might have thought it was better, maybe.
We get to go to the 80s next time.
Okay, and you get to pick.
I will find a good 80s movie. My birthday month too. So that's good.
I started doing that too when it's October, it's my birthday month. I could start celebrating now.
No, but you get to pick in October too. So
okay.
The fact that I go first means I get all the odd months and you get all the even months, and you're in October, so you're an even.
Okay, that means very little to me to pick the movie on my birthday month. That it's if I didn't get a chance to do that, I would not be hugely disappointed.
Well, then I'll pick on your birthday month 3 times in a row.
Okay.
No, it's great to get in your birthday month. You get a birthday movie.
Yeah, well, I don't always pick a movie I want to watch. Like, I didn't really want to watch this. I just thought
Gene Stapleton with your connection.
Yeah, I thought, okay, let's see what they try and do. And I didn't expect, like, it was not a highly acclaimed or anything like that. Like, I'm pretty sure it would have been more acclaimed. So I wasn't expecting, maybe that's what it is. I wasn't expecting it to be good because I did a little bit of research on it, enough that I go, okay, it's not going to be a great movie.
I didn't expect The Entertainer to be any good, and it was fantastic. Like, I so didn't expect.
Yes, I agree. I didn't think that would be a great one either.
Yeah.
That I didn't go in expecting, that it was done really well. But yes.
Have you seen Taxi Driver?
No, I've never seen that.
Because that's a pretty good 70s movie. That's with Jodie Foster as a
you have to wait for next year.
Yeah. Well, I'm picking lots now. Now you'll watch whatchamacallit, Billy Jack, and you'll
Billy Jack in 9.5 weeks in Children's Hospital. I'm gonna make you watch.
Go to church on Sunday morning.
Yeah, you can watch our church service.
I'll get a bot to do it for me.
No, we have a little thing that comes up. Are you a robot? And if you don't click it, that means you're a robot.
You don't have that for your church. I was going to say the church
sounded good.
No, the church would be thrilled if robots were watching. Ooh, we get the robots. We're going to convince them. Artificial intelligence.
But is it artificial? By now, they're going to be taking over, and they'll be very unartificial. You
do know that Elon Musk's Tesla is building robots, like humanoid robots.
Sure, I guess so.
Yeah, but he is in a couple of years.
I know, any minute now.
It'll be expensive. It'll be $100,000. I don't know what they'll be, but they'll be out of the reach of a normal person just at the beginning. But he's going to get them, and they will walk on 2 feet, and they will look humanoid-ish, and they will do work at his plants. That's what he's initially starting out getting these robots to do. And because he's solving general artificial intelligence with visuals, like that's what he's actually doing. And he's doing that with the cars for driving. It's pretty easy to do with robots because it's less dangerous. You're not putting people's lives in danger like you are in a car with a robot. It's just stop if you need to stop, and nothing happens. So, that's like a ridiculously interesting thing of what.
Okay, so you've recommended movies for me to watch. And so, we're not promoting it. We should be paid to do advertisements. So I will, here, let me have a Diet Cola. It's so refreshing. Oh, it's President's Choice Diet Cola.
Why do you promote your soap kitchen stuff that you do?
Well, I should, but I don't know. You have to be local to come and help me make laundry soap, environmentally friendly laundry soap.
How and why do you do this?
I didn't know that making laundry soap could make a difference. And I think it sort of does. It does for me. I don't have to spend the money, and it's great for the environment. And to be honest, I would love to be saying I was, this environmentally perfect person. I'm not. I will do other stuff that, completely ruins the environment. I use disposable diapers for lots of kids.
6 kids.
Yeah, lots of
6, no, not diapers. Having 6 kids.
That alone has just ruined
because you are responsible for all of their or half of each of their reproduction.
Sure.
On infinitum.
Right. But I will make my own laundry soap, and it's a workshop. We get together once a month and we make laundry soap, and people get to go home with free laundry soap. And it's a fun thing to do. It reminds me of a quilting bee where you get together and you get to do something together. And if people, especially if you struggle with money and have to pay money for laundry soap, that you get to go home with some free stuff. And it's just a very fun activity for me to do. And I really enjoy doing it.
How often do you do one of these jamborees?
Once a month at the church, but I have gone to places where they have asked me to come. I've done it for in the lobby of Terryberry Library for Do-It-Yourself Day. I've gone to Mission Services. I've gone to Good Shepherd Center, Helping Hands, The Bridge. I've gone to ladies groups. Whoever wants me to tell them about this soap, I will go and if we have a kitchen, we can actually make it. I'm just so excited about the fact that this little tiny thing that I can do, it makes me so happy. And it's just it happens to be a good thing. And so I will claim all of the little good things that I get to do, because
you should TikTok about it. You should TikTok when you do it.
I should TikTok.
And add it right into your walking stream.
Well, it all connects, right? So I used to walk on recycling day and pick up containers that I would use, but now I have enough containers to last me probably years doing the soap kitchen. So people don't have to. And if I ran out, I would ask people, bring your own containers. So we're good for that. So, but no, it's nice being able to do things like so I walk, and then I write about the walking, and then now but it's funny because I used to blog a lot about the walking, and now I'm doing more TikToking about the walking than actual blogging. So,
and it comes up in your Facebook feeds.
Yes, I have to to do it. So, and I try sharing it on Twitter and on Instagram, but they chop it up. They only let you do 26 seconds, and it's like, well, I talked for an hour and a half or a minute and a half, and so you leave mid sentence, and it just looks silly. So it's like I kind of stopped doing that.
Yeah, I love when they come up. I'm thrilled that you're doing that. It's making me. I could think I've come up with an idea, something to do.
Yeah. Well, my problem is that I like to do different things, and I it's like with the blog. Like I want to have all the movie things in one section, and then I want to have all the walking stuff in another section, then family stories in another section.
I think you can mix them up. I don't think that's so essential. I really don't. Like if you want, put little bottom third or whatever, and say TikToking about walking.
Yeah, I use a different color on the thing, so I do that for the. But I also like for the blog, I want to have different sections, and I don't know how to do that yet. I want to have a different section for media, my radio interviews and stuff like that.
On TikTok, you mean?
No, on my blog.
So I'm just saying, if you're going to TikTok about a couple topics, either make a colored, so when you look at them all, you go, I just want to watch the blues.
Yes.
That I'm interested in, or get another account and just
Yeah. I think one account is enough for me. So I tried that effect with the hand, and there was no option to do that. I couldn't do it. So I just made it go on.
Did you preload a thing for your hand or something?
No, I followed the instructions. Yeah. So I put something, and I went to find the look for that icon. There was no icon like that there, whatever she had said in the thing.
So you think that's because you don't have enough TikToks out there and they give it to you after you're done?
I have no idea why I didn't have that. Don't have a clue. Like it was go to, effects and then to this, and you scroll down, and it's like I had 5 effects that I could pick from.
Maybe you had to add effects into it, like an app.
Possibly, but it was the YouTube tutorial did not help me because what they had said.
She's already got it loaded, so she's forgetting that you have to get it. So write in, can't find the hand, whatever it's called.
Yeah.
For TikTok, the hand graphic, and then debug this.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I'm that ambitious.
You are.
No, I don't think so.
You're talking before me, so you are. You've beat me to the punch. I'm the computer media guy who's done CBC radio, CBC TV, had my own TV show.
And yes.
And Anita beats me to freaking TikTok.
I'm not necessarily good though. But I guess maybe that's the point. It's okay that I'm not good. Yes.
You're authentic. And that is what's fantastic about yours.
So the last one, I had done the thing and I talked about it. And so it's like, you know what? I'm getting towards the end and it doesn't feel right. And it's like, okay, maybe I'm going to do this over again. And it's like, so I did the thing over again. And I said the wrong name of the street and I could have changed it. I said it was 97 and I said 99 instead. So it's like, oh, said the wrong thing. So it's like, okay, I'm not going to use that one. Although I could, say, oops, I could have inserted something, but I wasn't confident at being able to do that. So I did the whole thing and I said, maybe I should do this over again. And then I wrote or not. And I put that at the end. It's like, okay, that's how you solve that problem. It's like, it didn't work. Right? I don't know how to do it.
The authenticness of it, I really like it's just keep doing it. And there's a podcast by Betty in the Sky with Suitcase. Have you ever heard of it?
No, you've told me about that. Stewardess.
And
Stewardess.
She's done fantastically with it and done a book about it, probably be a movie on it at some point in time. But she stays so authentic. She goes, just me in my closet, close the closet door, and I have a little light on and I read my stuff. That's so I can try and keep it quiet. And like, that's all. She just does it at that level all the time. It's just so wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
She's grown big and lots of people listen to her. And
she's still the same. Yeah.
Yeah. So
no.
I like her. I listen to her every single month. She's fantastic.
Yeah. Well, I'm trying to do it once a week, but I don't know that all my walks. Even if I just say these are the streets I'm going down, it's like, okay, well then that's okay too. But also,
even if you got it wrong, that none of that's important. The important is that you try and do a consistent one and show what's making you happy about walking, and then talk about other things in the middle of it. That's sort of what people want. They're almost getting a little bit of a friend out of it. You know what I mean? Like a one-way friend relationship.
Well, I want you to come along on my walks. That's what it's like. I don't walk with people, but it's like, I'll take you along for my little walk and we'll see what.
Yeah. Talking about the vest and how it's going to get hot out. Like you were saying, this is just starting to think about getting hot now. I'm not looking so far to the hottest part of the day when I have to do this.
Yeah, and one day I'll be saying, look at the sweat dripping and the fact that my eyes are actually stinging because the sweat is going in. My eyebrows aren't bushy enough. I should.
Dollar store, just get a headband, put it around your head.
Yeah.
One of those sweatbands from Richard Simmons.
Oh, yeah. No, I've tried some of them before and I put a cap on. And so I had sunburn below.
Yeah.
White above it. It looks so bad. But I see lots more interesting stuff, but it's never there when I found a rock and it must have fallen off a truck, but I think it's a piece of quartz and I want to find out what it is. But now I want to go back and find that, like, it was a big chunk and I want to bring it home. So I can't remember where it is. And do I really want to drive out to Freelton to see if I can find by the side of the road this big chunk of rock but I might.
It's that story that you need to TikTok because
I know, but I wasn't prepared to do that then. But I might, if I go back and find it, I might say,
where is it? Oh crap! It's somebody picked it up already. I wish I would have said it. I was like, oh no, there it is. And then you pick it up and you show it. And you go, somebody may say to you, oh, that's this kind of rock. And
it looks like fool's gold and it looks like quartz. So it's like that's pretty interesting, anyways.
Yeah.
Like I don't need to keep it or do anything, but I want to find out what it is. It's very shiny and sparkly. And it cut my finger and part of it kind of flaked off.
So what you do is when you take that and you sort of hide it somewhere so not everybody can find it, take a picture of it with your phone so you'll know where it is rather than just walking away from it and hoping to come back a week later and find that thing.
Yeah. Well, I didn't. I think I kind of know where it is, so I might go. But I mean, do I really want to go all the way to Freelton? It's a half an hour drive just to.
Well, don't you have more walking to do out that way?
I've covered that area, so like once I've gone, like I don't even want to say it out loud, but I might be done by the fall.
Why don't I say it out loud?
Because it's like, oh, that's pushing myself. Because Jeff, there's okay, and I'm gonna have some fun with this one. We should probably stop recording because it's not good. We're not talking about movie anymore. But maybe I'll talk about it on TikTok once we figured it out. But so we'll see you all next month with a movie from the 80s.
I get to pick one. Yay. Okay.
Yeah. Bye.
Stop recording now.